6537. 0703 175 6537. Send this information via WhatsApp and you will be added on to the group. That is simply all you have to do. Now I'm taking messages off of the Adults Conversations family conversation, family group chat first. And this is the first message. Francis from Calabar says, good evening to all the Adults Conversation family members. Happy New Year to everyone. My advice for Kathy tonight is that you shouldn't approach him for now. Let him be the one to approach you, and also be prayerful that God should give you the right partner. And that's from Francis from Calabar. Thank you very much. Gabriel Sampson from Katy says, good evening, everyone in the Adult Conversations family. Happy New Year to everyone who made it this fruitful year. Well, it is a natural thing to fall in love with someone, and it's another thing to know or feel the same way. My advice to Kathy for this night is that you should not be in a haste to approach him because he might not feel the same way with you, or he might take you for granted. And make sure it's a genuine love that you feel for him and not lust. Secondly, you must be prayerful so that God will direct you and give you the person who will value you and love you. And that's from Gabriel Sampson from K2. All right, Victor White. Victor White from Lagos says, Kathy, I would advise you approach him to know if he feels the same way with you. Maybe he still won't shun him. And it's not written anywhere in the book, is the one who is to take the bold step first when it comes to feelings or affection or relationships. And that's coming from Victor White from Lagos. Emmy Brown from Lagos says, good evening, house. My advice for you, Kathy, is that you can go for whatever you feel or feel best doing. It's not a crime approaching whatever you desire, irrespective of the outcome. And that's from Emmy Brown from Lagos. Okay, this one is coming from, it doesn't say who sent this one, but I'll read it out. Please don't do this again. When you send a message, ensure that you put in your name and where you're texting from. He says, or the person says, excuse me, pardon me, Kathy, our society has not matured for a lady to approach a guy. The best thing to do is to send someone on your behalf to find out, or look for a way to stage a discussion that brings clues for you to know if he's interested. Okay, so this is the last message on the group right now from Nathaniel or Jediron from Ojodu Berger. It says, Kathy, my advice to you is that you should not approach him. He will take you for granted in future. If he truly loves you, let him approach you first. Please keep the messages coming in. Keep the messages coming in on WhatsApp. Keep the messages coming in via text. And also keep the messages coming in via Facebook. Our Facebook handle is at WFM917. At WFM917. We are live on Facebook right now. And that simply means that if you're watching, or that simply means that you can watch on Facebook. You can go on Facebook. The handle is at WFM917. And you can watch everything that's going on in the studio right now. You can watch me as I go on with the conversation today on Adult Conversations. All right, so the handle again on Facebook and basically across all our social media platforms is at WFM917. We're live on Facebook and YouTube right now. So you can go on those platforms, leave your comment, and just go on with the conversation. So the phone line is open. You can call in to 07000 917 917. That's the number to call, 07000 917 917. In case you're just joining us, this is Adult Conversations. And tonight, we're profiling Kathy's story. Kathy is saying she's 25, she's a nurse, and she's in love with her colleague at work. She said she doesn't believe that, she said she believes that she believes that school of thought that office romance is a no-go area. What that means is she doesn't believe in office romances. She doesn't believe that she should engage in office romances. But she says she can't help how she feels. She says she cannot help how she feels. According to Kathy, this guy in question is her good friend, but she doesn't know if he feels the same way. She doesn't know if he feels the same way for her because he hasn't given any hint. He hasn't given any hint, so she doesn't know. So she's asking, should I approach him or should I ignore this feeling? And that's the question that Coffee is asking tonight. Should I approach him or should I ignore this feeling? What do you think Coffee should do? Should she talk to him about how she feels or should she leave him to realize how she feels for him and approach her? Should she leave him to realize how she feels for him and wait for him to approach her? Or should she tell him about how she feels for him? Now, so far, we have read messages of the Adult Conversations family, and I can hear the pulse of conversation. Most people are saying, do not talk to him. Let him be the one to talk to you so that he doesn't take you for granted. I think the first thing to note here is that you can't really command the direction that love takes. You can't really command or control the direction that love takes. Kathy is in love with this guy, or at least so she thinks. And until she finds out differently that she doesn't love him or that she doesn't feel the way she thinks that she feels for him, for now she believes that she loves this guy, and that's simply it. So she wants to know, does he feel the same way or does he not feel that way? So these are some messages coming in. This one is coming in from M. Anthony from Ogba Ikeja, Lagos. He says, hi there, don't rush it. If a guy wants you, he'll make the move. If not, it means he's not just into you. And be sure you're not infatuating, but true love will find you. True love will find a way as long as it is true. True love will find a way as long as it is true. The first thing I would like to know, which is for me, I like background information. I want to know what's happening in the background so that we can get, a nice grip of what's really going on. So that we can get a nice grip of what's really going on. So, how long have you worked with this guy for? It'd be nice to know how long you've worked with him for. And it would be even nicer to know how long you've been friends with him. It'll be nice to know how long you've worked with him, and it'll be nicer to know how long you've been friends. This is what I mean. So, for instance, you joined the hospital in 20 something, let's say 2021. Let's even just say last year. So, if you've been friends with him for a year, then you can get a sense of how his mind works. Basically, he would have told you before if he has any interest in other girls. And it depends on your kind of friendship, the depth of your friendship. How good of friends are you? When you say he's a good friend, what do you really mean? Does he talk to you about only surface issues, work issues? You only gossip about, regular things, people at work, situation in the country, you know? Do you talk about personal issues? How close of friends are you? Is he a good support system for you in your life? Does he give you good career advice? Does he spend time intentionally with you? Does he know the things that you like? Does he look out for you at work? Do you have time that you spend together? When you say he's a good friend, what does that really mean? Now, the basis of these questions is so that we can understand what what we can understand what Kathy means when she says he's a good friend. And this can help us understand the depth of her love for him. Now, when we say love, again, this is very relative to different people. This is very relative to different people. And until something happens that proves otherwise, that proves the depth of your feeling for this person, you cannot invalidate how somebody feels when they say they're in love with somebody else. So we just have to understand that Kathy says she's in love with this guy, but she doesn't know what to do. And this is the most important thing. Kathy says she's in love with him, but she doesn't know what to do. If you've ever been in a situation where you loved someone, you don't know what to do about those feelings, then this might be a good time to give Kathy some advice. If you're no longer in that space, you're in a better space now, and maybe you're with the person, maybe you're not. What did you do about it? Now, bear in mind that the biggest challenge for Kathy here is the fact that they are colleagues, they work together. That's the biggest challenge here. They work together. So, because they work together, it poses a challenge for Kathy because she doesn't believe in office romances. So, let's know if you think that Kathy should talk to him or not. Do you think she should talk to him? Do you think she should not talk to him and wait for him to talk to her, or just wait for things to just play out? What do you think she should do? The number to call is 07000 917 917. That's the number to call, 07000 917 917. This is a text coming in from Samuel from Ikorodu. Samuel from Ikorodu says, "Good evening. My advice to Kathy, give it time to be sure enough. Approaching him is not bad, but just be sure of your feeling. Give it time to be sure. Approaching him is not bad, but just be sure of your feeling." And that's from Samuel from Ikorodu. Now, the simple point of what Samuel is saying is to just make sure that we're on the same space. Samuel is basically be sure of how you feel. Now, this particular point is valid because if you're not sure of how you feel, you can talk to him. You finally gotten him interested in you. It will get to the point where, hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. I'd like to contribute to the discussion we are on right now.
Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
This time from
Taye from Surulere.
the time of the
Okay, please go ahead.
as a civil trainer, you have to think twice. And you also have to love the guy, but if you want to the guy, you have to make it start cheating.
Say that again. Say that again, please. I didn't get that. Say that again, please.
You love the guy.
Yes.
And the guys are going to approach you, you are going to approach you to know, you not come to approach you. You can't just go there and approach the guy. You need to love the guy. If you do that, you will think about it, you think cheap with the guy, and will not know the value of her. So that's what I believe. Is that what you are supposed to do, that what you come to your own, to be your own.
So what should she do?
So in the other sense, you have to make sure you stand on your feet and stand your pride, and nobody can buy your pride.
So what should she do?
It's yours, it will be yours. And it's time because if you look back to him now and talk to him as you love it, he might take it cheap and might not be bad.
I understand that. You've said that. You've said that already,
That's
Taiwo.
what
So what should she do? What do you think she should do? That's my question now. What should she do? What should she do? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay, so what should she do? What is your advice to her? What should she do now?
Your advice to her is, my advice to her is, if you try that, she be watching her aim.
Okay.
And trying to be, because you have the love and the pray. I think maybe you can be prayerful too. Just be prayerful. And,
Just be prayerful. All right.
prayer, they tell you that, what you like, if it's what you like, that's going to be a good thing to her. God will do something about it. If you
Okay.
want to go to affect her, God should tell her remove it from her.
Thank you very much,
So
Taiwo. Thank you for calling.
It's just out of you suppose God is full.
Okay.
So just believe that if it's your own, well, it will come.
All right.
It's not going to be your own, and it's going to affect you. It's just have to be alive.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, that's Taiwo from Surulere, first caller for the night. And Taiwo is saying that she should not call him or talk to him about it. She should just And the reason for this, according to him, is so that he doesn't take her for granted and he doesn't think that she's cheap. So he says she shouldn't do that and she should not talk to him about it. Instead, she should just pray that God should bring the right person her way and God should open her eyes to know who the person is. Please call back if you can. Hello, good evening. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kejuku from Bega.
Ikechuku from Berger. How are you doing today? Happy New Year.
I'm good, but what about you? Happy New Year.
Thank you. Ikechuku, are you a first time caller?
What do you say?
Are you calling for the first time?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for calling. This is for you. Thank you. All right. What is your advice to Kathy?
This is very program every night, but today I decided to call.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for calling.
Yeah, and really helps me a lot.
Thank you so much.
So, my advice is that she shouldn't approach this guy yet. Because these are the kind of feeling that most guys use in trapping their loved ones, but all of a sudden they will end up messing up with you. But if she goes into this relationship right now, it might result into something else that she would not like to take. So she should keep calm. She should do this relationship with the approach of the situation for now. Hello?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So she shouldn't talk to him about it, basically.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ikechuku. Thank you for calling. Ikechuku says, don't talk to him about it. Keep your approach, keep your feelings for now, because it's not a good idea for you to talk to him about it. He says these are the kind of things that cause other issues later on in the relationship. This is Adult Conversations in Your Women Radio, WFM 101.7. Please hang in there.
Wi-Fi network for unlimited internet experience that keeps you one step ahead in all your browsing needs. Wi-Fi network.
Special season. Some kind people always come to now. The first wetin they call sweet palapa. Where like a pusa when they wonder whether if you back in new car for the left side or right side of the compound. Yeah, no problem. Come now whether to start in brand new generator with key or with remote. If you say free, we don't open and close and do free every 5 minutes. My people, waiting they cause Sam, Now the Glow Joy Unlimited Extravaganza. Yeah, you say what is this? Outside star 611 hash and recharge up to 500 naira. Unlimited extravaganza for 500,000 gifts, where includes plenty brand new cars, generators, TVs, fridges, and plenty other surprises who can remain. Start to recharge now, make you fit win. Terms and conditions they shall.
Glow. Joy Unlimited.
I feel that there's some sort of lack of professionalism in this because we're talking about 100 lives.
Government has also put in place a structure to make it look like what they have in mind.
How do we stop crime in the society? Because at the end of the day, if a man cannot provide for his wife anymore, he looks for other means.
Mondays
Fridays from 9:15 a.m. WFM 91.7 will bring you ladies from across Nigeria's political zones, dissecting, discussing, and disagreeing on topical issues of the day. You too can join the conversation by tweeting us at WFM 917. Tag Panorama WFM 91.7, the voice of women.
Thank you to our partner and advertising agencies and our direct business partners. We thank you for this opportunity and for your patronage in 2021. We look forward to doing more business with you in 2022. To our women radio family who stood by us with phone calls, sent in messages, and contributed to programs, we thank you for being an important part of our 2021. Without you, there's no Women Radio 91.7, and this is why we send you all our love and we wish you a Merry Christmas. We look forward to a better 2022. Happy holidays from all of us at Women Radio WFM 91.7. Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is still adult conversations where we share real life issues and we discuss matters relating to the heart. My name is Sumta Titilaya Ajama, and tonight we're profiling Kathy's story. And it goes thus: I'm in love with my co-worker. I'm in love with my co-worker. My name is Kathy, I'm 25, I'm a nurse. I'm in love with my colleague at work. I'm of the school of thought that office romance is a no-go area, but I can't help how I feel for him. He's a good friend, and I don't know if he feels the same way. He hasn't given any hint. Should I approach him or should I ignore this feeling? Please advise me. To advise Kathy tonight, you can send in 1756537 or a WhatsApp message. You can send it to that number 0703 175 6537. And you can also call in to the station, call into the studio 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. Now, couples that have, okay, so age for some people in relationships. And in a lot of cases, we used to be of the opinion that the man should never be older than the woman. I mean, the man should never be younger than the woman. We used to believe that. And over time, that culture changed. Over time, that culture changed. Now, why was it imperative that the man be older than the woman? Because culturally, we used to believe that if the man is not older than the woman will not respect the man as her husband, as the man of the house, as the man of the home, as a father figure in the home, that the woman will not respect him because he is not older than she is. Now, fast forward to 2022, or at least to this century, that's not the story anymore. That's not the story anymore. A lot of people are older than their wives, but a good amount of people too are also younger than their wives, and their marriages are still beautiful. So why are we still sticking to the culture that says the man must be the one to approach the woman? Can't that culture evolve? Hello, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Turn down the volume of your radio for me, please.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. What's your name and where are you calling from? What is your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Samuel from
Samuel from Ikorodu. You sent it. Okay, please call back if you can. Call back if you can. All right. So I was talking about the fact that the culture about the man always being the one to talk to the woman, that doesn't really apply anymore in today's society. A lot of people still think so, but that is not the only approach anymore. That's not the only method of talking to somebody you like. That is not the only approach to things anymore. That does not apply as the only significant approach or the only way for any love connection to happen. The man does not have to be the one to initiate conversation. the man does not have to be the one to tell the woman about his feelings first. He does not necessarily have to be the one that does that first. The woman can completely talk to him about it. Now, do we agree that if the woman talks first, if she tells him about her feelings, that she would seem cheap? I would like for men to clarify on this. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Turn down the volume of your radio, please. Have you done that?
Yeah.
I can still hear the feedback. Turn it down. Turn it further down, please. I can still hear the feedback. I can still hear the feedback. Please turn down the volume of your radio when you call in. This is important. Turn down the volume of your radio when you call in. I plead with you so that we do not have unnecessary interference such as that you just heard. Now, in the comment section, I always call it comment section, on the WhatsApp group, there are a number of messages that point to the fact that if the woman talks to him first, that if Kathy talks to him first, she will be taken for granted, or she will be given an opening for him to take her for granted. Men, do we think that this is true? And women, do we support this motion? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Ige. I'm calling from Festac.
Ige from Festac. Thank you for calling. Ige, are you calling for the first time?
Yeah, this is my first time on your show.
Thank you. That's for you. Thank you for calling. Happy New Year, by the way.
I wish you the same. So, on the North Lady,
yes, Kathy.
If I should give her advice tonight, I think I would ask her to ignore the feeling. Although such a thing has happened to me in particular. You know, a colleague of mine, both of us are working together. She saw me, and personally, the way she relates with me, I know that she's interested in me. But she's a very, on my own side, the way I observe her, she's a very good girl, well-mannered, and well-cultured. But a kind of, it's like I am the kind of man she wants in her life, but she's not the kind of girl I want for myself. So she approached me, observing me. You know, one day she had to pick up the courage to approach me, and she told me what she feel about me.
Okay.
You know, in order for me not to kind of make her feel depressed, I feel bad. And I just told her that I cannot mention her name on there, but I told her that listen, you are a very good girl. You are very hardworking and very industrious. I like you as a friend, but not as a lover.
Okay.
Lover, but I don't think I can do that with you. You will find someone that will love you, because in a relationship, it's not a guarantee that someone you love will love you back.
Of course.
No, she loves me, but I love her as a person, but not as a lover, as in both of us to have something intimate. And she sent me for it, and both of us are still friends, but not intimate friends. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So that is how it is. But I am not saying her that she's cheap. It's just that somebody that goes for what she wants.
Okay.
That's the I see her. I am not saying her that she's a cheap girl or something like that. So she's not cheap. But she does see something she likes and she go for it. But unfortunately, she didn't get it. But I know that she will get her one day. But definitely not me. But and I wish her well.
Okay.
So on my own end, if I do advise enough, I will tell her to just ignore her feelings and keep on with her work. If the guy open up to her, maybe one day the guy may feel something. He can just approach her. But as at this moment, they have not approached the guy.
What you haven't said, Ige, is the why. Why do you say she should not approach him? That's I appreciate you sharing your story, but you've not said specifically why she should not approach him. And that's just in one line. Why do you say she should not do that?
I said it before. It is not a guarantee that someone you love will love you back.
Exactly. So if she talks to him,
might approach the guy now, and everybody's not the same. The guy might be feeling that maybe this girl is a wayward or something like that. Everybody cannot be me. I just tell you my own.
Of course, yes.
What happened to me? You understand?
Yes.
So we all have a different understanding in things. So
okay.
She's a lady, and the kind of I know what it takes my friend to approach me. I know even we were the day she approached me, she was shivering. I said her to calm down. Just,
all right.
Just feel free. Speak to me. What is the problem?
Okay, so just to be clear, Ige, just for clarity purposes, you are saying that she should not talk to him about how she feels because she cannot predict how he's going to react, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just be natural and
all right.
Just continue to do what she's doing.
To be friends with him. Okay, no problem. Thank you so much for calling, Ige. Thank you for calling.
Thanks a lot. I love your show.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night. Okay, so Ige shared a bit of his story, and he talked about how a friend of his who was interested in him approached him, and he let her down really lightly, told her that, oh, you like me, but I don't like you in that way. I would like us to be friends and not lovers. And he says they're still friends today. So he says, according to him, the most important reason he's saying that Kathy should not talk to her friend about this is because she can't say how he's going to react. She can't, he may look at her as a wayward person or somebody who's cheap, and at the end of the day, that might affect their friendship. I believe that that's what he's trying to say. So thank you very much, Ige, for calling. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Samuel.
Samuel from Ikorodu. Okay, you called earlier, but you couldn't get to speak. Please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, like you see, it's this guy knows my mind. That's what I wanted to say. And just forget about the guy. She not go after the guy first. Because if she goes after the guy for the guy, you think she's cheap. Understand?
I understand. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I'm listening to you.
The guy will think the girl is cheap. And she might use her. Or even do her. Understand? Or do any kind of sort of thing to her. She understand? You just leave her alone. Because even the company has said it, you can't go after them.
No. The company didn't say that. Just for the record, the company didn't say that, or at least she did. She didn't say. Yes, she didn't say that the company said that. She's the one who believes. She's the one who does not believe, rather, in office romance. Not that their company does not approve of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? She doesn't say in her story that the hospital doesn't allow it. She's the one that just doesn't really believe in it.
But seriously, that you should not go after the guy.
What if he doesn't think so? What if he's the kind of guy that doesn't think so?
And you think the guy will live over the way she loves the guy?
Maybe not. Maybe not. It can go both ways, but it doesn't mean that even if it doesn't go her way, even if he doesn't feel the same way, it doesn't mean that he would think that she's cheap. So that's just what that's just.
You shouldn't go after the guy.
Okay.
Why would you go after the guy?
What is wrong with that?
She really loves the guy. And let her go afraid now. Go, fight, cover that God. Yes.
What is she going to pray for?
Because even going to anything you want, ask and it has been given to you.
What is she going to pray about exactly?
Huh?
You said if she really loves him, she should go and pray. What is she praying about exactly?
God said, God said, ask and it has been given unto you. He said, because you don't ask, that's why you are not.
And now, so are you saying that she should go and pray so that God should direct the guy to talk to her?
From my heart, is what I want. Like God, she's really my mind. God, this is what I asked for. You continue to pray.
Okay, what I'm asking is what exactly is the prayer point? So are you saying that in the prayer point you say if he's really my man, he should talk to me? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, now.
What makes you
I don't can do anything.
exactly? But what makes you think that God cannot tell her to talk to him? Can't God do that? Is that not a possibility with God?
God can do that.
Exactly. So if God says that and she doesn't talk and according to you now she can't talk to him because she's a girl. So if God says talk to him, you now say that God, I can't talk to him because I'm a girl. It's going to look somehow. Anyway, Ige, I understand you, Samuel. Thank you very much for calling. All right, so I just asked those follow-up questions so that we can understand really what Samuel's mind is. Ige's point was that we cannot predict the reaction of the guy and if he would think that she's wayward or cheap, to which Samuel actually supports. Now, does every guy think this way? Does every guy think this way? Shouldn't there be an assessment of the guy? That's why initially when I was started, I said, what kind of guy is he? If the kind of guy that he is, shouldn't the kind of guy that he is be the determinant of his possible reaction in that kind of scenario? And if they're really friends, is that something that she should be able to gauge of how his reaction is going to be? Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Turn down the volume of your radio for me, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. What is your name and where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Akuti.
What's your name?
My name is T Fresh.
D Fresh.
T Fresh.
T Fresh.
Yes, T Fresh.
Okay. Is that a nickname or is that an original name?
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Okay, T Fresh from Akuti. Thank you for calling. Are you calling for the first time?
Because let me say this, those two guys are those two guys are crazy. Why would they say that?
Okay, first T Fresh. I know saying a joke. I know saying a joke, but we know they joke like that for you. We know they attack anybody's opinion. I take God beg you. I know saying I know saying a cruise with a catch, but no talk to another person. Don't say that, oh, these guys are crazy. People can take offense. You never know. So I beg, no talking like that.
Well, I'm just laughing at their content.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think?
Okay, let me just think.
What do you think?
I think like in this our Nigeria or Africa, we believe when they say work with the guy and express our feelings, means the guy is cheap or something. So for me, for this girl to bring this kind of thing, asking for advice, she already knows what she wants, and all these things we are saying is just cruise. If her mind says go for this guy, she will definitely go for the guy. So we are just making them. She knows what she wants herself. If I thought she go and praise God, she knows what her mind needs, so she will go for that.
Well, regardless of that, because we don't know what she knows, what do you advise that she does? What is your advice to her? Do you advise her to talk to him or to ignore her feelings? Make she go meet somebody. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, T Fresh. Thank you for calling. Enjoy your night. Okay, and that's T Fresh calling from Akuti. And he says he doesn't agree with the school of thought that it's the man that has to talk to the woman. He doesn't agree with the fact that if the girl talks to the man first, that means that she's cheap, or that means that the man will think that she's cheap. He doesn't agree with that at all. And he says instead of that, she should talk to him. She should talk to him about her feelings. Now, to a large extent, T Fresh is right. Now, I say this because usually before anyone brings their challenges or their stories to be profiled on the air, on the radio, to a large extent, that means that they possibly have thought about all the possible scenarios and they just need maybe one last set of advice. And so they're calling in or they're tendering their stories to be profiled so that they can get advice from people that they don't know. Now, as I said earlier, whether or not we think that Kathy really loves this guy, what is important right now is that Kathy thinks that she's in love with him. Kathy believes that her feelings are valid and that she's in love with him. And to be honest, her feelings really are valid. It's only time that would tell whether or not she really loves him or not. And this happens to guys as well. Sometimes you think you like a girl, you think you're in love with the girl, and you walk up to her and talk to her and approach her for a relationship. She agrees. 2 months down the line, you realize, oh, I'm not really in love with this girl, and this was a bad idea from the beginning. And you break up and they move on. Yes, that will either break the girl's heart depending on how fast she fell in love with you, and if she is in love with you as well. But if it's just casual, if she's not sure, or if she's just feeling friends vibes with you, she possibly will not feel heartbroken. But what I'm trying to say here is, with the guy, with the lady in question, this could also be the case. So until time unfolds her real feelings, for now, she believes that she's in love with him, and we need to acknowledge that. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Can you turn down the volume of your radio, please? I can hear you, but I can still hear the feedback. Can you turn it down, please? Can you turn down the volume of your radio, please? I can still hear. I can hear you, but I can hear the feedback as well, and that's what I shouldn't be hearing. Please speak. Let me hear. Hello? Okay, yes, it's much better now. Thank you very much. So what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, I said apologies to the guy that said those guys are crazy. And maybe the guy was just on different mood thing.
Yes, of course. He was joking, and I understand that, but sometimes we need to be careful.
Yeah. So actually, you understand, you first said it for that this our century like this. We don't wait for something to happen. We go for something sometimes. You understand? If the girl really loves the guy, you understand, the guy can actually go and make the guy. The guy might actually love the girl, that the guy might not be able to approach the guy because he's not even that can approach the baby.
Of course.
They are not there, they are parents are married to them, they are married to them, let me find you. It's not even for every guy that can approach the baby. I was just saying that you look at the girl like that. I like the girl, I can't approach her. So the normal thing to get goes to the guy. And if the guy wasn't interested in that, the guy will tell the baby, everybody move on. So the guy should sit down with the guy and let the guy know how she feels. You understand?
Thank you very much. What is your name, please, and where are you calling from?
My name is Shaggy, and I'm calling from.
You're calling from where?
Pipeline.
From Pipeline. Thank you very much, Shagzy. Thank you for calling. Okay, that's Shagzy from Pipeline. Shagzy is saying that he agrees with the fact that we're in a different century and that ladies can approach men just as men can approach ladies. He's saying this in contrast to the opinions of Ige and Samuel earlier, who said that it's the man who should do the approaching, it's the man who should do the talking. Now, Shagzy doesn't believe in that, and he's saying that Kathy should tell her friend how she feels. Now, this situation could work both ways. Kathy could actually tell her friend how she feels, and it could blow up in her face. And by that I mean, maybe he will not react the right way. Maybe he's not going to be like Ige, who will say, or who said, "Oh, I know you like me. I like you too, but I don't like you in this way. I don't like you in a romantic way. I don't like you in a romantic way. I just like you as my friend, and I would like us to stay friends." He may not do that. He may not be like, hey, are you serious? Are you serious? And then he possibly will start acting a certain way. And this is the concern, actually. But should this really determine whether or not she talks to him about it? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Faith from Ikorodu, thank you very much. Are you calling for the first time?
No, it's actually a second time of calling.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So, Faith, you're a lady, and I'm glad that you called. What do you think that Kathy should do?
Yeah, I guess the thing with my generation is that everybody has a problem with when a lady gets to go for what she wants. To feel you're too forward. I mean, they see you to not to be a lady in quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something's actually wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with Kathy approaching this guy and telling him that I like you, I have feelings for you. Yes, we all know that there's a possibility where this whole thing might go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The guy might rub it on her face, the guy might take advantage of what she said,
Absolutely.
and all of that.
Yes.
But you don't have anything to lose. Whichever way, you have already told this guy that you like him, you've gotten that part off your table. Another part of, just hold on to the feeling and just be waiting for the guy to come and then tell you, hey, I like you, and then before you start responding, take it to prayer and wait on God and everything. Yeah, the prayer part, I truly believe in prayer and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I actually don't have a problem with that. But how about you approaching this guy first? How about you telling this guy how you feel? How about, I don't know. If you guys get rubbish on your face, that would be, that would actually be too bad. That would be pathetic of him. That would actually be it. Because if I should summon so much courage as a woman, approach you as a man and tell you that I like you and I think I have feelings for you, and then you want to feel me to be a woman that is forward, you want to see me as a woman that is cheap. No, I'm not cheap. It's just the truth. It's your perspective and how you interpret what I get to tell you that makes you feel and cheap and everything. So I feel Kathy should approach this guy, tell him how she feels. And if the guy rubs it on her face, it's fine, it's okay. I mean, you apply for job interviews and then get turned down and you're leaving. I'm pretty sure that there are some things that have happened to her that she probably thought it would turn out well. Yes, she went
and life goes on.
I mean, she's here today. So if this happens, then I mean, why is everybody stealing from the negative start? How about this guy also like that and is this type of person that cannot open up and tell that he really likes her? So yeah, she should do it. She has no there's nothing to lose here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Faith. Thank you for calling. Faith is our first lady calling tonight, and Faith is saying, I don't know why people keep thinking that this whole thing that the lady talking to the guy makes her look cheap. She's saying the guy could like you and maybe he's not bold enough to tell you. And even if he rubs it in your face, it doesn't matter. In fact, if he rubs it in your face, it just proves the kind of person he is, and it proves that you're not with the right person or you're not who you thought he was. So just move on. If you get rejected, you move on. It happens. Guys get rejected a lot of the time and they still toast other women. So it's normal. It happens. It doesn't change or reduce your value as a woman. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Hello, good evening. This is Mommy King from Mokito.
Mama Kings. Mama Kings. Happy New Year, Mama Kings.
Happy New Year. Thank God we meet you too.
Yes, so good to hear from you.
Thank God we go with us, all of us to us.
Amen.
And we then quickly advise
Kathy. Yes.
You see, there's something about life. There's no big deal if you ask the guy out. You understand? There's no big deal. But before you do that, please do your findings. When you do your findings, so that it can make the work very easy for you. You never can tell. Maybe that guy has someone is dating or somebody is planning to get married to. So that at the end of the day, you will not get caught. All you just do is just maybe in this festive period, you can ask the man how when you have someone from that from your household, you can get the information from him. Maybe he's having somebody. You can just know the information. When you pass your information, when you get your information, you know that maybe he's available or maybe he's you now know how to approach. To me, that's just what I think is to do, so that you not just be embarrassed when you hear that you have engaged in them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mom Kings.
Find it before you
Approach him.
I think that is the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mom Kings. Thank you for calling. So that's Mommy Kings from Bukijo. To the approach him motion. Yes, to the approach him motion. Now she says you can approach him. As a matter of fact, you should approach him. But she says before you approach him, do your findings. She says do your findings. And the reason she says this is you need to know if he's single. You need to know if he's engaged. You need to get a sense of what his current state is, what his relationship status is. If he's available, then she says you can go ahead and talk to him. So casually ask him and just find out. You're good friends. So in the course of conversation, you should be able to tell if he's single or not. And if you don't know, you should be able to ask him and extract that information so that you can know and then make your move. But you should know, according to Mom Kings, before you make your move, you need to know if he's available or not. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Vicky. I called earlier from Texas.
Ige, you've called before, so you have literally 30. Ziggy, right. Pardon me. All right, Ziggy, you've called before, so you have 30 seconds. Please go ahead.
Okay. I have everybody's decided to his own opinion.
Very
but
true.
Whatever I tell you, I'm telling you from history. Do you know that?
I'm sorry, say that again. You're telling me from
experience.
From your experience.
Like what I'm telling you now, my elder sister experience.
Yeah, it's still your experience. It's still your experience.
My experience.
Yeah. Okay.
You know that when a girl approach a guy, you know that it can be somehow dicey. There are some men who are good diggers, who are just opportunists. Now, this girl is a working class. Some men, you can just approach them. Definitely, on their own, they have nothing to do with you, or they will use you dry, frustrate your life. So, if I should advise the Lord, there is still still on her side. Let her just fight low and just keep it natural. Do you know that? I know how much a guy is fraud like this. I love you and I do not love you. Millions of naira. When I tell you millions of naira. So, girl, I know that things are changing for real, but it should be the man to approach the girl. If the girl approach the guy and they agree, there's no problem. There are good people. There are some guys who are shy. When you approach them, I mean, they cannot approach a girl, but when a girl approach them, they can take it. You understand? There are still good people, but there are still the other way around. Guys who are very studious and who are good diggers and who do not have conscience. You know, when the girl approach them, they will be looking at it from the angle of that this girl, maybe nobody is coming for her on that note. Let me just, ally with her and just suck the girl dry. And by the end of the day, they will frustrate her life.
That's true. That's true.
But I should just advise her, let her pipe low.
No problem.
Natural, just like I said before. If it is the will of God for them, there is no how the guy will not be courage one day and talk to her.
Okay.
But if she tries to compromise to keep something, it needs to be whatever you compromise to keep, you must surely lose it. So many guys are desperate. They are wicked.
But that doesn't say yes.
Let's be careful.
That it's a good generalization. I mean, it's a generalization, but it's not a healthy one because you cannot use that scenario with your sister or similar scenarios around that as a generalization. Yes, there are a lot of guys out there that are like that, but
There are still good people. I said it.
exactly. So we cannot. There are chances. Exactly. So I appreciate this. I appreciate
Very,
this.
very, very well before she can approach that guy.
All right.
You understand?
Thank you so much,
Let her watch
Ziggy.
it very well.
Thank you for
very much.
calling. So, the truth of this is he has a very good point. As a matter of fact, he adds to that point by telling us the story of his sister who got duped and defrauded of a lot of money by somebody who actually didn't really care about her, but just acted like he did because she cared about him and she loved him, and he just used her for her money, basically. Yes, there are cases like that. In fact, there are a lot of cases like that, and this goes vice versa as well. There are lots of ladies, and I hate to say this because it's super embarrassing, but there are lots of ladies who actually date guys because of their money, solely because of their money, not because they actually care about them. So it goes both ways. But does this mean that Kathy should really not talk about it? It's a good point, but is this reason enough for her to say, I'm not going to tell him about it? Hello, good evening. Okay, so call back if you can, please. Ziggy also concludes his point by saying, as just as there are bad people, there are good people in this world. So you need to be very careful before you talk to him. So, and I think that's what Mommy Kings said as well, in line with the fact that you need to be sure that he's available. Hello, good evening.
Hello, very good.
Good evening.
I call back.
Who?
Faith. I just called on my number.
Oh yeah, Faith, my sharp.
Okay, no problem. And here's the thing. Another thing, I just thought about this. What exactly is this feeling that Kathy has for this guy? Is it a feeling? Is it feeling genuine?
She just said she's in love with him. She just said she's in love with him.
Oh, she said she's in love with him.
Yes, she said she's in love with him.
You know, okay, all right. If she's in love with him, then it's fine by me. Because because you've been familiar with this person is your friend, you've been in the same workplace, and you really do not know this person. Not the end of the day, get turning this thing, and then you guys start this whole thing, and you're regretting. Why did I ever tell this person I like them in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Or I feel probably you should just take a chill pill. Yeah, because at times you might just feel like I am in love with this person, I love him so much and everything. And then, because of that chill pill you get to take, and then you start mixing some things, you start paying attention to a couple of things, and you actually be grateful that you did not even open your mouth to tell them anything. But you're still in love with him. That's fine. Thank you so much.
Faith, I'm a little confused now. So initially you said she should talk to him. And now you're saying she should take a chill pill, she should chill on it a little bit so that she can observe him, further before she can say that she's in love with him. Now both points are valid. But Kathy is 25. She's grown. Theologically, yes, she's grown. But I mean, by adulting standards, she's grown. So depending on your experience with relationships, depending on your level of maturity as a person, depending on your level of observance, I'm not sure if that's the right word. Intuition is also key, but you need to be able to be discerning. Yeah, that's it. You need to be able to be discerning as a person, and this doesn't just apply to relationship. It applies even to friendships, even to business connections. You need to be able to get a sense of who people are before you even have any kind of relationship with them. Some people, you meet them, you vibe with them straight up, and that's simple. There's no long background story. You just literally vibe with them. But some people, you meet them, you vibe with them, but there's this thing that doesn't quite sit right with you about them, and you sometimes cannot put your finger on what that thing is. Now, in cases, wise people would draw back a little bit. They will be friends with you, but they will not tell you everything about themselves. They'll just tell you little by little here and there, just so that they can get a sense of who you are and get you talking so that they can get to know you more than you know them. And they can use that information to their advantage, and at least so that they can get a sense of who you really are before they commit to the relationship, before they get to know who you really are, and really give themselves to you, whether in friendship or in business or in love, regardless of all of that. So there always will be a chance that things will not turn out well. There'll always be that chance. There'll always be that possibility that things will not turn out well. And it's very important to secure a friendship with the person you're in love with, or with the person you want to pursue a relationship with. It's completely important. The best relationships come from people who have been friends before they entered into a relationship, into a romantic relationship. And that's tested and tried. That doesn't say that if you've not been friends with someone, you can't have a good relationship with them. But that says that when you're friends with them, without all the I need to impress you because you're my girlfriend, I need to impress you because you're my boyfriend, without all those airs, all of that is taken down completely when you're friends, because they can totally be themselves around you. And that in those cases, because they're themselves around you, you really see them in their true colors. You see them in their true colors. So Kathy has said, and I quote, he is a good friend of mine. And that's what she said. He's a good friend, and I don't know if he feels the same way. That's why I asked earlier in the conversation, how good are you when you say he's a good friend? What do you mean he's a good friend? Do you people share deep things, or are you just friends that just sit down in the cafeteria during lunch and you just gist? You just gist. Does he take you home? Does he know where you live? Do you hang out outside of work? If you've hung out outside of work, then that means you have a sense of who he is when he's laid back, when he's not under work pressures and all of that, when he doesn't have to attend to anything that relates to work. You know the kind of person that he is. You know the kind of beliefs he holds. You've seen him talk about ladies. You know how he values them, what his perception of women are. You know if he has liked anybody. You know if he has told you about anybody that he likes. There's a lot of information that you can tell from somebody who has been your good friend for a while, which is why earlier I asked, how long have you been good friends for? It's different if you've worked with somebody for a year and then you recently became good friends for like 6 months. It's two different things. So if you've been friends with somebody for 6 months, you may not know everything that you need to know about them, but to a large extent, you get a good sense of who they are. You would have been able to see them in lots of situations. That's why I said it's important for her to have a sense of who he is. Now, if you have a good sense of who he is as a person, then Kathy should be able to gauge from where she's sitting as a friend, as somebody who has a healthy sense of who this guy really is. You've heard him talk about his parents, you've heard him talk about his sisters. If he's this deep of a good friend to you, if you guys can talk about personal issues, you can talk about money issues, you can talk about a lot of things that are important to you other than work, then that says that you have a good friendship going on. And if you have a good friendship going on, I don't see why you can't talk to him about your feelings. If you get the sense that he's the kind of person who is mature enough to take that kind of information in. This is 27 minutes past the hour of 10 on Your Women Radio, WFM 91.7. This is Adult Conversation. My name is Sumte Titilayo Ajama. And tonight we're profiling Kathy's story. Kathy's 25. She's a nurse by profession. And she's telling us that today, she says tonight that she is in love with her colleague. Now, this colleague of hers happens to be a good friend of hers, and she's in love with him. She says she doesn't really approve of office romances, but she cannot help the way she feels for him. So she's asking that though they're good friends and he hasn't said anything about how he feels for her, she doesn't know if he feels the same way, but she wants to know, should she tell him or should she ignore the feeling? Ladies, what do you think? Guys, what do you think? Should she ignore the feeling and just continue being good friends with him, or should she talk to him and approach him about how she feels for him? Now, it is blatantly wrong, completely. It's a sad African perspective, which I believe strongly that is changing nowadays, that if a lady approaches a guy and talks to him about her feelings and the fact that she feels a certain way for him, it will be perceived as she being cheap. That used to be the case, and to a large extent, a lot of people still believe that. But that is not the only opinion out there nowadays. In fact, I have had friends who have said that it takes courage for a woman to talk to a man, for a woman to approach them and say, oh, this is what I feel for you. So, in such situations, the most important thing that stands out to them is that courage, the fact that she goes for what she wants. That's very important. And that stands out to them as a quality that only a certain kind of woman has. And who doesn't want to be with a woman who goes for what she wants? Why should that be viewed as a negative thing as opposed to something positive? Now, whether or not the relationship eventually pans out, whether or not the guy says, "Oh, okay, I like you too," does this mean that she should not talk to him about it, or does this mean that she should, just do a little bit of research before she talks to him? Are there some things that she, or should she not talk to him at all because he would think that she's cheap? This is a message from Gift from Ibafo, who says, "Good evening, Happy New Year. I would say that she should just go with the flow, probably pop up issues relating to relationship, and know his view on certain things. Actually, not all friendships are to be moved to relationship level. That is very true. Not every friendship will end up as a relationship. Not every good friendship with your male friend will end up as a relationship. So what do you think that Kathy should do? The number to call is 917-917. That's the number to call. 07000-917-917. You can also send in a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. This is Adult Conversations on Your Women Radio, WFM 91.7. Now, this is the message coming in from Joseph King. Joseph says, Kathy, if you approach this guy and express your feelings to him, and by the end of the day he accepts you, he might take you for granted. Don't you think he's already in a relationship with another lady somewhere? And if it's the case, he will hide it from you. He won't let you know that he's already in a relationship. You won't be worth anything to him. He might see you as his sex toy because he got you so cheap. I want you to know that people don't value free things. But when a man gets something through hard work, he cherishes it. Now, my point is, if he's already in a relationship with another lady somewhere, he's never going to value you. You'll be the one doing all the begging and all the loving. If you end up having an affair with him, for the fact that he sees you every day at work, he might not respect you again. And that will definitely affect your freedom, attitude, and concentration at your workplace. So you have to think twice. Be extremely careful. You don't need a painful and regretful relationship. You need a man that will respect you, cherish you, value you, and love you unconditionally. Thank you very much, Joseph King, for that. But there are so many layers to that message that need to be addressed. The fact that you talk to a man and tell him how he feels does not mean that he would say that you're cheap. And if he thinks that, that's on him, that's not on you. If he thinks that, that's his perspective. As a matter of fact, if I ever approach a man and I say, oh, I like you and I have feelings for you, and all of a sudden you start acting a certain way, you might never tell me. I mean, you might not tell me to my face that, oh, I think you're cheap by telling me this. But then you start acting a certain way. You start acting a type of way that shows that you've lost respect for me. That tells me more about you than any other thing that you've done before. And that is an indication enough for me to be like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, I thought I liked you, but this is a red flag and this is a no. But you need to not be consumed about the love that you have for him. That's why I said, to a large extent, you need to know the kind of person that he is. You need to know the kind of person that he is. If he's your really good friend, truly, you would have had so many types of conversations with him that range from all these different things. You will know the kind of perspectives that he has of women. You will know the kind of ways that he talks about women. You will know the kind of opinions about women. I have friends that I know that are feminists and they are men. And I have friends that I know that they're misogynists and they are men. And I have friends that are just somewhere in the middle. They don't approve of feminism. They don't approve of men being misogynists. But at the same time, they have a healthy understanding of both points of view. Now, this doesn't say that any of them is right or any of them is wrong. It just means that they both think differently, and we need to appreciate that difference. This does not generally apply if you know the kind of person that he is. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Matthew from Silver.
Hello, Matthew. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you for calling. How you doing?
Good.
Yes, so my day is good. Thank you very much.
Great. I think I have two questions to ask before I can use my advice.
Okay, and I'll do my best to answer them.
How old is this guy?
She
ready for marriage, and what relationship is this lady looking at? Is it a naughty type of relationship that will just get, through the time and, enjoy the moment?
Okay.
And
So
if that is the case, if it's not get to reveal the feelings by saying it, she can do it by, things like you go out, buy your lunch, buy food also. To him, let him call that word out of his own mouth. Let him come with it. I'm not saying she cannot do it, but let her do it with self-kindness and let the guy come out with the word, because you never can tell if he has a girlfriend, so you need to be careful. If he has a girlfriend, he will just, try to dance over it and just want to take advantage of the lady, that's all. But if he truly loves the girl in return, he will show some interest and will come out with that word.
So what if he doesn't come out with the words? Because there are guys that can be interested in you for 20 years and they will never tell you that that's how they feel because they don't want to mess with the friendship.
Yeah,
So what if he's that kind of guy? What happens in that kind of situation?
It's always good to define what you want at the start of all things. You don't get into it and where do you go into that relationship? Both of the lady and the man should come to say this is what we want. And the lady should know what kind of relationship he's asking for. Is he asking for just a relationship that to enjoy the moment?
She says she's in love with him. If she says she's in love with him. If she says she's in love with him, she cannot be asking for.
It's not a statement. Love is not a statement. You can be in love with somebody even far off. I can be in love with somebody I'm only seeing every day, but we're not talking at all.
You can't be in love with somebody you're not talking to. That's not how love works.
No, that's why I said it's not a statement. See,
no, Matthew, I understand what I'm saying. You said, Matthew, hold on. You said you want to know if she's after a relationship for the time being, or if she's really in love with him and she wants. Now she says she's in love with him. So if she says she's in love with him, to adult conversations where everybody's hearing, I don't think that she'll be talking about that if she just wants a relationship for the meantime. If she just wants sex from him or she just wants him to give attention. People don't do that.
I didn't get that.
I'm saying you asked if she wants a naughty relationship for the meantime. And you also said if that's what she wants, it's either she wants that or she wants a real relationship from him. Now, she's saying that she's in love with him. If she says that she's in love with him, to a large extent, that doesn't point to anything naughty or just sexual. That points to something that she wants to last.
And you can't define love in one way. You may love someone because of what particular thing the person is showing. You may love I want somebody to be my man. You may love somebody because he just shows you when he's around. So what kind of relationship does he want to really go into?
She wants a serious relationship. She just wants a serious relationship.
Hello?
Yes, I believe that she wants a serious relationship.
Well, now depends on this relationship. Okay, because this lady question also that you don't have a boyfriend. That's what I want you to know.
And that's fine.
You
If she has,
boyfriend, she's 25.
I'm not sure you understand the current situation of things. If she has a relationship, if she's in a relationship and she's saying that, oh, she's in love with somebody else or she's in love with this guy, she doesn't know whether she should tell him. Well, that's sad because typically that should not be happening. You can't be in a relationship and come on air and tell people that you love somebody else without telling us that you have a relationship. That's not right. So again, because we cannot say exactly, we can't say Matthew, I will not, nope. I will not let you say what you're about to say. I'm not going to let you do that. What is going to happen here? No, hold on. Matthew, listen. We can only go by what we are listening to right now. We can only go by the story that we have. And if you read the story, which I've read, you can tell that she is not looking for something casual. And if that's the case at the end of the day, well, that's between her and the guy. Her point here now is to know if, because she works with him, they are good friends, should she talk to him about how she feels or not? And that's where she needs advice. So all these other things that may matter, if that's why somebody called earlier and said, we need to know if he's in a relationship or not. So if he's in a relationship, she can find that out. If he's your friend, you can talk to him about anything. And if he tells you that he's in a relationship, then you know that, oh, okay, you decide whether you want to keep going or whether you want to pursue him or whether you want to back off. But the point that she's asking, should she go ahead with talking to him about it or not? So this is where I need your advice. Do you think she should talk to him or not?
What I would just say is she shouldn't take in words. She can go about in showing affection, not in words, because I don't know the level of their relationship and I don't know what year that is. So I would not expect her to pick that. They didn't go to same school together or maybe spend some years together, eating together. She's just a colleague in the office. So I wouldn't expect her to come out.
All right. Thank you very much, Matthew.
Shouldn't come out that way.
Thank you so much. Okay, so this is Matthew from Sierra Leone. He's saying that she shouldn't come out with words and tell him that this is exactly how she feels. Now, she can be affectionate towards him. She can take him out. She can, just show affection, basically, and then let him say the words. I'm not sure where this particular school of thought is coming from, but this is obviously Matthew's belief, and it's perfectly valid. As a lady, some people believe that you don't have to be forward by actually saying what you feel. Some people think that you say it, act it out, and leave all the clues for him to figure it out himself. Please call back if you can. So do we agree with the situation that, you don't have to say it out, or you can be more subtle about it? You can be more subtle with your affection rather than saying it out loud and leave the man to say it. Do we agree with that particular school of thought? Is that something anybody else is thinking? Hello, good evening. Hello? 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 All right. So there was a message earlier about the fact that if a man gets something for free, he's not going to value it. A lot of people say, oh, the men like the chase, they like the hunt, they like the thrill and all of that. You can absolutely tell a man how you feel without being a slave to those feelings. The fact that you say that, oh, I like you, doesn't mean that you should drop all your standards and just lay down on the floor and let him stomp all over you. There are boundaries, there are standards that you already have, and all these standards should not just disappear out of the blue just because you're the one who tells him that you love him first. The fact that you say you love him first does not mean that you excuse every single thing that happens. If, oh, okay, I like you, I have feelings for you, and the guy starts to act a certain way, just misbehaves, starts to be shady about things, or starts to be, just acting a funny way that he wasn't acting before, it doesn't mean that you stop. It doesn't mean that you start becoming blind to everything because you're the one who likes him more. There's some cases that happens because the person is really crazy about the other person, so they become blinded to lots of things that they do. This applies to both guys and ladies. I'm putting it in this way so that we can understand that this take for granted thing applies to ladies when they talk to men, but it also applies to men when they talk to ladies. So even if it's a man that says, "Oh, I love you" first, the woman can still completely take him for granted. So why is that a more acceptable scenario? Why are our minds conditioned to receiving that particular part better than receiving the other part? It's it's just it's practically the same thing. So if you tell the man how you feel first, but if even if you eventually enter into a relationship, where whether or not he's lying, time will tell. But if he says he feels the same way and you eventually enter a relationship, that doesn't say that he should walk over you. That doesn't say that your standards should drop to the point where he offends you, he doesn't apologize, he behaves a certain way, and everything is just allowed to just be swept under the carpet because you're the one who said, "I love you" first. That doesn't have to be the case. If you want something serious, if you want something substantial, something that yields to marriage, something that means something at the end of the day, you can't take less than you deserve just because you were the one who said, "I love you" first. Hello, good evening.
Hi,
Hello,
I can hear you.
good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from? Please turn down the volume of your
Okay, my
radio.
name is Wally. I'm calling from my phone.
Wale, can you turn down the volume of your radio, please?
I think I'm already.
Okay, Wale from Magboro. Wale, are you calling for the first time?
No, no. I called
Okay,
before.
no problem.
I took a couple of days now.
All right. Thank you for calling. What do you think Hafi should do?
Well, in my own opinion, I will say, whoever, first off, before you go into a relationship, you need to check if the person is a responsible person. That's first. And also, you need to know if the person knows what he or she wants. I'm talking both gender now. Yeah. The fact that the lady walks up to the man and say, "I want you, I like you," as a matter of fact, "I want us to get married," doesn't make her, does not depreciate her value, doesn't make her less of a human.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, personally, I would have preferred that kind of lady. If I have a lady that walks up to me and she has the qualities that I want, possibly she's a kind of a career oriented person, I would have appreciated her more than someone that will have to chase around, because there's no energy left to chase women. These days when men just walk up to a woman and just say, "Hi, can I know you?" and you say no, you see the man just walking away. And maybe the second day the woman feels, you spoke to me yesterday and you're not turning up. It has ended like that. So it does not really matter who, make the first move. Or, for people who don't know what they want in life, there's always an excuse, to give about saying the cheat. There's no woman that cheats. You maybe discussing her at a particular angle that she beat her. So there are people who will chase the same girl that is telling you she wants. So you cannot just conclude that she's, she's like that. So I don't see anything wrong in expressing how you feel, verbally, as a matter of fact, verbally, not even try to systematically make it, make the person understand, because it's not even everybody that understands sign language, or maybe,
Subtle messages, yes. Body language.
you understand?
Okay. Thank you very much, Wale. Thank you for calling. Okay, that's Wale from Magboro. And Wale is saying that he doesn't agree with the fact that if you talk to a man first, that the man will think that you're cheap. or doesn't agree with that, with the fact that men sometimes think that women are cheap when they talk to them first. Now he says he would even really appreciate it if a woman comes to him and says, "Oh, I like you." He says because that means that she knows what she wants, and that means that she can match his energy, particularly if he likes her too. Because there's really no time to be chasing around women. Now, this is directly in opposition to the message that said if a man gets something for free, he's not going to cherish it. Now, free in quotes, according to that message, would mean that because it was the woman who went to say how she feels. But Wale, on the other hand, who's a man as well, is saying that that's not the case. That for him, it will even be easier and smoother and better if the woman is the one who actually comes, because that means if he likes her to, they're good to go. There's really no time for merry-go-round. That means she knows what she wants. He knows what he wants in her, and then they go straight to the point. And eventually, if it becomes something substantial, it does. If it, doesn't work out at the end of the day, it didn't hurt to try. So Wale is basically saying it's good for a woman to actually talk to the man physically, verbally, and let him know how she feels. And he's saying that that is what Kathy should do. Now, this is 10 minutes to 11, and in a matter of minutes, we'll be rounding off adult conversations today. Now, this is a good time to call in if you haven't been able to call in earlier and you still want to squeeze your opinion in. I can take 2 calls at this point, depending on how long the conversations go. Now, if you're that person and you still want to call in 07000 917 917. You can also send a text and WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Are you there? I think there's a problem with your network. I can hear your voice, but I can't hear what you're saying. So please call back. Again, the number is 07000 917. And we're rounding off adult conversations. Still want to call 07000 917 917. Send a text or WhatsApp message in to 0703 175 6537. Now, just for a brief summary as regards all the schools of thought so far, a lot of people have said that men usually think that women. Let me take this call. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Joshua. I'm calling from Ajawo.
You're calling from where?
Ajawo Estate.
All right, Joshua. Joshua from Ajawo Estate. Thank you for calling. What do you think Kathy should do? Do you think Kathy should tell him about her feelings or not?
About what people are saying about the relationship. Women are so proud themselves that they don't have mind to talk to men, to talk to men. So, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So all of us, we are human beings. We have the feeling. So, even me, when I walk to hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Joshua. So okay. let me quickly make you understand something, so that we don't waste time. Okay. Let me quickly make you understand something.
Okay, ma.
Kathy loves this guy, and she doesn't know how he feels about her. She's not shy to tell him whether she's not against telling him how she feels, but she needs to know if it's the best thing to do. Should she tell him or not? So that's what I need you to help me answer. Do you think she should tell him or do you think she should not tell him? So really quickly, what do you think?
The line is not clear. I can't hear you proper.
Joshua, do you think that Kathy should tell her colleague or her friend that she loves him, or do you think she should not tell him?
You can tell him that I love you.
Okay.
He's free to tell him. It's not everything men. We are all of us. We are born together. We are not separate. We are together.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you for calling.
That's what I want to say.
Thank you. Okay, and that's Joshua. Joshua is saying we're all equal, and then we're all born into this world. So he doesn't see the need why people should place more emphasis on the fact that it's a man who should do the approaching on telling the woman of his feelings, that the woman can also do so. So he's also saying Kathy can tell her good friend how she feels about him. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello. Okay. So very quickly, this is a brief summary of what's been said so far. Mommy King has said you need to know if he's available. You need to know he's single. If he's single, you need to know if he's engaged. Just know his relationship status before you tell him how you feel. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. James, all right. Very quickly, James, please. What is your advice to Kathy?
Yes. See, in this life, it's not all about men. What the man can do, women can even do more better. It's matter of exposure and civilization. What is like now? It's not the side of a man, only a man that can walk a woman and say, I like you. A woman thinks I do. It just saves our stress and other things. So even as I do naturally, I can see the woman that walks to me and say, I like you again. I will be more very appreciated than even the one that is trying to really stress me. So
Okay.
in my mind, I will know yes, I find it too long. I really respect that woman more than even the one I'm trying to really see myself.
Okay. So James, you're saying that Kathy should tell him how she feels, Abby?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Pardon me for that, James. We are very, very, very far spent with our time today on adult conversations. Now, James is basically rounding off saying that you should tell him how you feel. Do not leave the responsibility of sharing your feelings and approaching the person first, the lady first, to the men. That he's saying that the men can also do that. So basically, this is a school of thought that the woman can actually tell him. Kathy, in this case, can actually walk up to her friend and tell him. Some other people have said you don't need to say it verbally. You don't need to use the words. You can show him a lot of affection. Just be there for him. Be everything that he needs, basically, on some level. Just show him what you feel. And then he will get the idea and then use the words to tell you how he feels, if he feels the same way for you. Other set of people have said rather than talk to him about it, just pray about it and let God be the one to tell you what to do. Pray about it and tell God that you want him to talk to you so that God will put it in his heart to talk to you. Some other set of people have said that don't talk to him. If he's the right person for you, he'll come around to talking to you rather than you doing it, because if you do, he will possibly think that you're wayward or that you're cheap. Somebody also say you need to be sure of the kind of love that you feel for him. You need to be sure that it is love and not infatuation and not lust that you feel before you can approach him, so that he doesn't take you for granted. So it's also important that we understand that. Okay, so this particular one came in from on the WhatsApp group. He said you can talk to someone to talk to him to get a sense of how he feels about you, and then that person will give you the feedback, and then that will determine whether or not you approach him with how you feel. So these are the basic points that have been said today, and I believe that given all this advice that we've received today, Kathy would be able to make an informed decision and decide on what step to take moving forward. Thank you very much to everyone who has called in, sent text messages, sent WhatsApp messages, even on Facebook. I'll read the message on Facebook now. And this one is coming from Benjaz. And Benjaz says, Kathy, you're the only one who is in love with him. For the fact that he has not said anything, that means he is not interested in you, or he's taking his time, or he just wants you as a friend. Never you woo him first, because Naman the toast man. Because Naman the toast, not the other way around. All right, so that's the message we got on Facebook. But as I said, So many other schools of thought have contradicted this particular point of view. So thank you very much. And I'm sure that Kathy will be able to take an informed decision. On behalf of Kathy, I say thank you again. And I hope you'll join me again tomorrow, same time, same station on Women Radio 91.7 here on Adult Conversations. Thank you very much to the producer, Taiwo Adeleye, my engineer on duty, and my name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful night. Where you're from. There was that is a much you know that song. Thank you, Jesus. The voice of women, the voice of women, the voice of women, 91.7, the voice of women, the voice of women, 91.7 WFM.